Okay, take a look at this box mantel. This is a miter fold box mantel, which means it's open on the inside there so that we can hang it properly. And it's supposed to look like one continuous piece. And in this case, I use some sanded white oak plywood. Those are the tools I'll need. And I rarely do this, but I'm going to use some tape. I just want to have some fun here. You'll see why I usually don't use tape, because I end up using nailers anyway just to get everything solid. But let's go ahead and flip this puppy over. You can see it's nice and sturdy. Oh, this is going to be gorgeous. Slap some glue in there. A bunch of glue. You can never have enough glue. Wipe the excess off. Pop it under the table. Nobody's ever going to find it. All right, let's go ahead and fold it. Oh, that's just smooth. Grab my pin nailer here with some 3/4 inch nails. Pop some in there. I'm staggering each shot. Look at that, 3/4 inch, 23 gauge. Pop it over because I want to get my sides lined up. These are pre-cut, 8 inches, okay? 8 inches by 8 inches. Some more glue. I love glue. You should too. It's really the woodworker's best friend. All right, I'm gonna put the side together here with some more pin nails. Oh yeah, well, okay. I wasn't expecting me to do that. Now there's evidence that I do eat glue. Not really. I just did that because it was fun. Alrighty, let's get the other side. We're gonna do the same thing over here. Man, deja vu. Feels like I've used this glue before. Oh, I forgot something. My nail gun. Man, this is lining up beautifully. Look at that. Now, before I even cut anything in my workshop, I make sure that all of my cuts are square. My tools are all adjusted, so I don't have any lopsided pieces going together here. I check the table saw, I check the miter box. That just makes life a lot easier. All right, I'm gonna take off this excess glue here. I'm not gonna eat it this time. I think I've had enough glue for the day. All right, take this tape off. And then I'm rolling it into a ball, and I guess I'm ready for the circus. Okay, take off more of that glue. Now I'm gonna grab my Irwin clamps. These are the 12 inch. That gets the joint super tight when I clamp it like that. Now I'm gonna run some 18 gauge 1 1/4 inch nails through there. Not a lot, you don't need a bunch, but this is gonna make the whole box mantel super sturdy. It's never gonna come apart. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, look at all those nail holes. That's ridiculous, why would you ever do that? Well, we pump out a bunch of these and floating shelves per week, and we need a fast and efficient system, but we also want it to be durable. And we use some wood filler that just blends perfectly. You'll never even know the nail holes are there. I'm gonna flip it around, get my last side ready to rock. All right, now check this out. Okay, I'm flopping it around. Mind you, I'm about 10 minutes into building this mantel. There's some white oak wood filler by Gork's Good Filler. This is the good stuff, okay? So I'm gonna fill all the nail holes. Some of the seams have some gaps in there. Not a whole lot. It's really not that bad, but I love it to just be uniform and perfectly sealed. All right. So this whole mantel maybe took 20 to 30 minutes to build. That includes ripping and putting it together. 120 grit sandpaper. Gonna slap it on the 5 horsepower orbital sander by DeWalt. Good old trusty electric sander here. Now I'm sanding the sides down here, the front, the back. Sounds like a song. And I went really fast on this. I don't know how I slowed it down a little bit so you could see how well this Gork's Goodfella blends. God, isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that nice? Yep. Okay, we'll let the sander speak for itself there. The filler speak for itself. Now, I'm not sanding it down a bunch because that veneer on the plywood is only, 16th to 8 inch thick, so I don't want to take off a whole lot. Now, I have some holeless sandpaper that I put on my sanding pad there. That just makes sure that it doesn't grab onto any of the veneer and rip it away. I know a lot of people like to deburr with a screwdriver or whatever. You really don't have to, especially with plywood. So just use the sander, get it out of the way, make it look nice and smooth, and let it blend. Plus, some of that sawdust is falling back in the seams there and bonding really nicely. Now the back is wide open. That's the way we want it because we're going to use some material there to hang it on the wall above the fireplace. But yeah, look at how gorgeous those seams are. Isn't that nice? Not too shabby. So let's go ahead and flip it over here. I'm using some 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch poplar here that we've milled down. That's going to hold it nicely to the wall. Run those cleats through some studs, then grab some finish screws or trim screws and pop the mantle in there. I'm just going to throw that around because we don't need it right now. It's getting in the way of my incredibly weird looks there. All right, so there's your box mantle. Looking gorgeous. You know what? This is the way I do it. If you do it a different way, congratulations. I like the way you do it too. But hey, keep building.